Alright, welcome back everybody to another exciting zombie vampire video. And today we are going off against Marincess. Marincess is a very strong deck, very combo heavy deck. So I am actually going to fast forward because I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what he is doing. It's a long combo and I never played Marincess before, so I'm not 100% familiar with all of the combo steps that he's trying to do. So let's just fast forward. You know, he's just gonna link climb until he gets his boss monster, or at least one of his boss monsters. Alright, he got the Bubble Reeve, he's got the field spell, he's got everything. He's gonna boost everything up. Alright, so he's got the field spell, which allows him to get all of these monsters attached for like extra protection. Now he messed up over here because he activated a monster effect that's going to trigger my Kurikara. I activated the Vampire Domain because I didn't know what this back row was, and I see it was a back row removal card, so now we are in the clear. Boom. Since he activated a monster effect, we could tribute his monster with Kurikara. Now let's start our zombie combo. He's gonna get hit with the Ash Blossom, but it's alright. We send the retainer to the graveyard. So technically, most of the time I don't do this. I don't get rid of Fraulein because I feel she's very important. But this time I wanted to set up the Omni-Negate because other than that, I don't really have much plays. So we smack him up, and then Kurikara has an additional effect. At the end of the end phase, I can take one of my opponent's monster and add it to my field. So we took their Great Bubble Reef. And then it's back to our opponent. So he activates Marincess Dive, which is going to special summon a Marincess monster for him. He's going to send Blue Tank to the graveyard, and then he's going to link summon into the Blue Slug. Alright, then his graveyard monster effect is going to kick off to extend. Now he's got the field spell, so he's going to be able to attach a whole bunch of monsters to this monster one more time to give it a power boost. Alright. He's going to excavate his deck. He's going to add another field spell. And then he's going to attack into my Kurikara. Which I don't know if it was the best move on him, but whatever. Alright, then he's going to continue into link climbing. Now this time we are going to hit him with the negate. Since he got rid of all of his monsters, like I felt this was a good time to negate, since he kind of has like a clear field now. But he still has war plays from the graveyard. He can still extend. This deck is crazy. Like I haven't really ventured into Marincess, but it seems really crazy, really combo heavy. Maybe like a fun deck. I don't know. Let me know if you guys ever played with Marincess. What do you guys think about the deck? How do you feel about it? Alright, I mean, as you can see, he can extend for days, so it seems like it could be a very consistent deck. He's able to extend like crazy. Alright, back to us. So very quickly, since I stole his Bubble Reef, so Bubble Reef has a special effect. You can banish one water monster from your graveyard, but that's not the one. This card gains 600 attack for each banished face-up monster. You can send one water monster. Where is it? So yep, every time pretty much when a card gets banished, this monster gains 600 attack. I just wanted to point that out because that's what's going to happen here when I banish my Banshee to activate Zombie World. Then he's gonna get that damage boost, and then from here we're gonna go into our Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. And the reason why I went into Zombie Red Eyes Necro Dragon is because every time a zombie monster is destroyed on battle, I can special summon a monster to my field. So I special summon his monster, and then I smack him for 3800 with his own monster. Haha! We take your own materials, we take your own monsters and use it against you. That's the power of vampires and zombies. Alright, let's move on to the next gameplay. Hello everybody, welcome back, we're at it again. This time we are going up against a Lightsworn deck, and I thought it was going to be a hybrid deck. I thought it was going to be like a Tillerman Lightsworn, but it's actually sort of a pure Lightsworn deck. So I hit him with the Maxx C because he's going to special summon this monster from the graveyard. Now this is another deck that I really haven't played against a lot, so I really just wanted to showcase some new decks as well, and I thought this was a good duel to showcase as we do have a lot of back and forth. Yep. So we start with Glow Bloom because our hand is kind of trash, not gonna lie. Not kind of trash, we kind of bricked. Alright, then activate Glow Bloom and we're going to send Bolan, and then Bolan is going to send Mezuki to the graveyard to special summon itself to the field. I activate Vampire Domain, but this was just sort of like a check. I just wanted to see if he had anything like an Ash Blossom or something. So that's all we could do, so it's back to our opponent. Gonna activate his Radiant to mill some cards, and he's gonna activate the Chaos Ruler. I hit him with the Ghost Mourner because that card can be a little troublesome. He's gonna monster Reborn, Lumina. Alright, and then now I activate the Super Poly, getting rid of my Linkuriboh and the Chaos Creator. And I'm gonna go into the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. And then I'm going to target his FA monster to give myself a damage boost. And he's going to go into Michael, the Arch Lightsworn. And then this card, he's able to banish a monster. So this one right here, he can pay 1,000 life points and target one card on the field and banish that target. So I really didn't want him to get rid of my Bolan because my Bolan is an extender for me. So that's why I brought back the Ghost Mourner so that I can banish the Bolan. Which means, unfortunately, I have to sacrifice the Starving Venom Fusion. But it's okay. Because Bolan just comes in clutch. But I mean, I don't know. You can argue that it was maybe a misplay on my turn, but I don't know. I just felt the Bolan come in clutch, so we go into Retainer, then we go into our Dark Charmer, and then from here I activate Mezuki to get back my Retainer, and then with Retainer I can get my Omni Negate, and then from here we go into our Vampire Fascinator, and I'm pretty much just going to make the Zombie Vampire. And you can argue this was also a risky move on my part because his deck is kind of like a mill deck. You know, he wants his cards in the graveyard, and I kind of go into the Zombie Vampire and mill some more, but it was a desperate move because I really needed some monster. I needed something. As you can see, my hand is nothing, and yeah. So he gets his, what's that, Fairy Tale? I mill Banshee, so I activate Banshee to get Zombie World out. Alright, then he's going to activate Fairy Tale to face down my Uni-Zombie. And I think I guess it was a little smart of him to attack the Uni-Zombie instead of the Zombie Vampire because I guess he was afraid of me activating Uni-Zombie and start sending monsters to the graveyard. Alright, so he's going to get his... he's going to try to banish my Uni-Zombie with his monster, but I negated with the Omni Negate, and then I can gain some life points. So yeah, this duel was pretty interesting, a lot of back and forth, and this kind of showcased the new deck that I'm working on right now as well, so I thought this duel was also a good duel to showcase the new cards that I'm playing with and I'm trying to work with. So he's going to mill. He's going to bring back his Fairy Tale to flip down my Zombie Vampire. And he's going to activate the Destiny Hero Malicious Bane to special summon another Bane so that he can go into the Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. And then here, this is important with this monster because I use this monster too, but here the main thing that you have to keep in mind is that if this card was link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster's material, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. And then he used Malicious Bane, he used Snowdrop, and he used Valkyria, so none of these are level 7, so that means this monster is not really all that protected. And then I thought he was going to banish my Uni-Zombie, but instead he gives himself a 1500 attack. Because this card can either banish a monster, but yeah, I think that was a misplay on him. I think he definitely should have banished my Uni-Zombie. So he's going to try to resurrect his Fairy Tail one more time, but I hit him with the DD Crow. That DD Crow came in clutch. Alright, then Chaos Valkyria is going to activate. I'm just going to send another Mezuki to the graveyard, activate Mezuki to get my Vampire Sorcerer. And the reason why I go for Vampire Sorcerer is because he's a level 4 and my Uni-Zombie is a level 4. So I can make my Skeletal Felgrand since it's a level 8 Synchron. And then Skeletal Dragon Felgrand has a special effect that when he is special summoned, you can banish one monster on the field. So we say goodbye to his Blackluster Soldier and we attack for game. Now that was a dope game, a lot of interactions, and yeah, I thought it was just a good duel to showcase what I'm working with this new deck. But yeah, let's move on to the next game. Hello everyone, and we are back at it with our next game. And this one is to showcase once again the power of Zombie World and why I prefer it over Vampire Kingdom. Because Zombie World shuts down this top tier deck. Just having Zombie World on the field can almost certainly guarantee you a win against this top tier deck. And that top tier deck is being none other than Flowandereez. Alright, so if you don't know, Flowandereez is definitely up there with the rest of the meta decks. But because their whole gimmick, they need to have Winged Beast monsters in order to tribute anything. And then that's where Zombie World comes in, because neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombie monsters. And then since he doesn't have any zombie monsters, well, he is pretty much shut down. So, yep, he's gonna try, but nothing. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit over here. And yeah, I don't know what was the whole deal around him using that Jack in the Box thing. So I was able to add Robina to my hand, and he can add another monster to his hand, but yeah, I don't know what was the point of that. Now I thought this was funny if I would have just killed him with his own monster, but he ends up scooping before I do anything. So I send the Glow of Bloom to get the Doomking Balerdroch, and he already knows that he cannot do anything against my deck with Zombie World on the field. So yep, Zombie World shuts down a lot of decks, bro, so that's why I prefer it over Vampire Kingdom. But let's move on to the next game. Everybody, welcome back to our last game for this video. And in these past couple of games, like, the main purpose was that I wanted to showcase a lot of back and forth. I wanted to showcase enough interaction so that you guys can kind of get a better idea and understanding of how the deck works. So our hand is actually kind of crap too, so we could only set down Retainer and set Super Poly. But we have Maxx C, so now we activate Maxx C so we can draw a couple cards. Alright, we draw evenly matched. He's gonna go into his Cyber Dragon Nova. And then using this monster, he's gonna go into his Cyber Dragon Infinity. Which for him, he can suck up one of my monsters, and it's also an Omni Negate for him. And then we draw into Fraulein. Okay, so like as I mentioned, this one over here, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach one material from this card, negate the activation, and destroy it. And then also once per turn, you can target one face-up attack position monster on the field, and you can attach it to this card as material. So here I activate Fraulein because I want him to actually use his negate on Fraulein. And the reason why I wanted him to negate is because I have the monster Reborn. So I'm going to Reborn now Fraulein from the graveyard so that I can have her during his turn during the damage step. And the reason why I do this, you'll see later why I do this. So now it's back to our opponent. We just set our Omni Negate and we set our Cosmic Cyclone. So here he's going to suck up my Vampire Retainer, and I thought this was a bait. So that's why I didn't activate my trap card, because I saw this as a bait. And I was correct, as he's now going to activate his regulars. I'm going to hit him with the Maxx C again. So now the regulars can target one machine monster from his graveyard and attach it to him, and he's going to get a damage boost. And now I'm going to activate Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of this back card. And the reason why I do it is because I want to bait any of these negate. I want him to use either the regulars or the Cyber Dragon so that I can pop it with the trap card. In this case, he goes for it. He activates the Cyber Dragon, so I hit him with the trap card. So now his monster is negated and he gets popped, and then I also gain some life points. So now when I activate Fraulein, now he has a choice. If he wants to negate my Fraulein, he has to send his regulars to the graveyard, because regular stage you can send one Ethereal monster card from your hand or face up field and negate that effect. But because right now this is the only card he has, he would have to send his regulars to the field. But he doesn't, so I'm able to protect myself. And he's going to fusion summon into his Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. But we have Super Poly, so we activate Super Poly. This is our newly added card to the deck as a board breaker, and here we can show the power of Super Poly. And using a fusion monster and a dark monster, we can make Predaplant Dragostepelia. Alright, and since he already used up his battle phase, he cannot attack Dragostepelia. And then I activate Dragostepelia's effect to put a negate on Regulus, so now he cannot do nothing with that Regulus. His Regulus is completely cancelled. And we banish Mezuki to get Fraulein, send Sorcerer to the graveyard, special summon Retainer. And then now I'm going to burn for some life points and kill his Regulus with my Fraulein. And the reason why I use Fraulein is because now at the end of the damage step I can steal his Regulus. So now I have an Omni Negate on my side of the field. So now I have a Monster Negate, I have a damage boost, I have an Omni Negate, and an extra body. And then he's going to hit me with the Lightning Storm, so that play, this Fraulein play, that came in clutch. Because if I didn't steal that Regulus, he would have fucked me. Like I would have been screwed. Because that Lightning Spell would have completely screwed me over. Alright, we activate Fraulein to give Retainer a damage boost and kill his Cyber Dragon. So, yep, overall, this was another good duel, just showing a lot of back and forth. And, yep, I guess my opponent doesn't have anything else he can do. He's a bird. I'm not saying it, look, that's his name. He's a bird. He's a birdman. But, yeah, let's move on to the deck list. Alright, what's up my people? Welcome to the deck list. So let's go through it very quickly. We have 2 DD Crows to kind of counter Tillaments or any pesky monsters that want to activate in the graveyard. We have 2 Familiar. This is going to search our Vampire cards. Blow a Bloom is going to search level 5 or higher monsters and add them to our hand. But if Zombie World is on the field, then we can special summon those monsters instead. Kurikara is to sort of help break boards, because this card can tribute all face-up monsters on the field that activated their effects. So sometimes Tillaments, you know, they like to play during your turn. So if you have Kurikara in your hand, you can kind of tribute all of their monsters that activated. And yep. Then we have 2 Maxx C to help if we brick or anything like that, just to draw cards. Retainer to search our Omni Negate and Vampire Domination. And then 3 Uni-Zombies. As you know, this is just a generic starter in just about every zombie deck. We have a Ghost Mourner to sort of negate any special summon monster that our opponent may have on the field. And then if they leave the field, the controller takes damage equal to their attack, so it can kind of burn our opponent for some life points as well. We have 3 Vampire Ghosts. This is our Vampire starter. We have 2 Mezukis as an extender. You can banish him from the graveyard, and then you can special summon a zombie monster from the graveyard. We have Sorcerers, another extender. If this card is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card, you can add 1 Dark Vampire monster or 1 Vampire spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then you can banish this card from the graveyard, and 1 Dark Vampire monster you normal summon this turn can be summoned without tributing. So mainly we use it to normal summon Voivode without having to tribute 2 monsters. Then we have Necroworld Banshee. This is pretty much to search for our zombie world. We have Vampire Fraulein to give our zombie monsters an attack boost. And as you saw in the game, we can also use her to kill one of our opponent's monsters and then resurrect them back into our side of the field. Bolan is sort of an extender as well. You can discard one zombie monster, so you can always discard Mezuki if you need to get Mezuki into the graveyard, and then you can special summon Bolan. And then if Zombie World is on the field during our opponent's main turn, we can banish this card and steal one of their monsters from the graveyard. So this can kind of help with stealing more materials from our opponents, and then if we steal a monster from our opponent's graveyard, they get banished instead of going back to the field. So we can kind of outrun our opponents from resources with Bolan as well. And Doomking Balerdroch, this is our zombie side of the field boss monster. You know, he can negate and he can also banish the monster whenever a zombie monster activates an effect. And Vampire Voivode, we know this is our vampire boss monster. We use it to steal monsters from our opponent's graveyard so that we can make a zombie vampire or a Dhampir. Monster Reborn as an extender to Zombie World to help shut down some decks. Vampire's Domain, you can think about cutting this one if you want alongside with Kurikara, but I have this because it can sort of be an extender as well. You can normal summon 2 monsters, if you will, in one turn by paying 500 life points, so sometimes it can come in clutch. Then we have our newly added card to Super Poly to help break boards. And we have 2 Cosmic Cyclones just to get rid of back rows. Call by the Grave to negate any hand traps or any monster that might activate in the graveyard. Forbidden Droplet can also help us break some boards by negating and cutting our opponent's monster's attack in half. And then 2 Evenly Matched to help with breaking boards. 2 Infinite Impermanence as a hand trap. And then our Omni Negate, Vampire Domination. Alright, and then our extra deck, we have our Super Poly targets, Dragonecro, Nethersoul Dragon. This card is pretty cool. If this card battled a monster, change that monster's attack to 0. Also, if that monster still face up on the field, you can summon 1 dark token with the same level attack as the original level of that monster. So yep, this card can help with OTKing. We have a Starving Venom fusion, and we have Predaplant Dragostepelia. We have a Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon, and we have the newly added Omega. And the reason why I added him is just because mainly this effect, once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can target 1 banished card, return it to the graveyard. So just in case if Voivode or Doomking Balerdroch ever gets banished, we can kind of use this card to put them back into the graveyard, or any card that we might want to have back in the graveyard. So even Mezuki, sometimes if we want to put Mezuki back in the graveyard, then we can use this card to put them back into the graveyard. And then Felgrand, when he's special summoned, you can banish a monster from the field or graveyard, so just to help board wipe. We have the Baronne de Fleur, you know what that does. Dhampir, Zombie Vampire, Linkaribo. And then we have our Vampire Sucker, 1 Avenged. This is to get Mezuki or Banshee into the graveyard during the damage step. We can send a monster from the deck to the graveyard, and then also our opponent loses attack equal to that monster sent to the graveyard times 200. So it can also help get over some monsters. And then Dr. Dark Charmer, we can steal a dark monster from our opponent's graveyard, which can then help us link line. And then Fascinator to steal a monster from opponent's graveyard as well. And then this card can help us go into Dhampir or Zombie Vampire. And lastly, Underworld Goddess to sort of tribute an opponent's monster that we may have a hard time attacking over, or if it's unaffected and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is what I'm working with right now. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anything that you would change, anything you would add? How do you think it's going to do as we climb up the ranks? So yep, and if you enjoyed today's video, then please consider giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments that you may have, and if you enjoyed the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel. It will help me grow. I'm trying to get at least 500 subs by the end of the summer. So thank you all so much. Have a good day, good night, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. Kiwami Games, peace out.